Folks, this is a great story. So Meghan Markle's with Love Meghan on Netflix. Prince Harry and Ted Sarandos and Mindy Kalingaling and Drew Barrymore show and everything. Well, guess what? Guess who they trot out now? And I told you he wasn't going away. I told you he wasn't going. I just wanted to see my grandbabies. I want to see my grandbabies. Well, that's not working anymore, so I guess I'm just going to move halfway across the globe. The guy's still, I just want to go, I want to have a drama-free life. I just want, I don't want anything to do with this any longer. Bang. They drop him at the perfect time. They trot his ass right out. Okay? I told you what, Markles are gonna Markle, folks. I said that once, I'm gonna say it a million times. You can't keep them away. Right? We're going to break it down. And not only that, we're going to break down how specifically timed and perfectly timed this was, and how strategic this was, and also how they allegedly did things with the other article that I make fun of. I might even re-release that video because it's so damn good. Okay? And the fact that that article is no longer there. How you like them apples? Little odd, don't you think? Anyways, we got a lot to cover, folks. So let's get into this. Roll it.
Rachel Meghan Markle.
Object in life was to be Diana.
One question, I said, was he stupid?
Oh dear, dear.
No, tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna really, really, really want a zig-a-zig. If you want my future, I need some cash. I'm losing influence, so make it fast. And don't be wasting my chicken time. Get your shit together, H, cause mommy's on your mind.
All right, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? Folks, how you doing? How you feeling over there? Everything going all right? What's cooking? Good looking? Listen, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the show, baby. Who loves you, baby? Listen. Oh, yeah, before we get started, don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let me know you're doing well. Also, I have a Patreon account. You can preview things for free. Go over there, check it out. You know what? This year, you got to be like, you know what? It's 2025. I'm feeling alive. I'm going to do something for me. Oh, my God. Seriously, go do something for yourself. Ugh. I do it like every day. Hello. Anyways, let's get into this. So, folks, I have... I keep referencing this article that was so crazy, all right? This was in December. A person from the Daily Mail actually went down to go spend a few days with Thomas Markle Sr. while he's packing up his crap to move wherever he was. He was so coy about where he was going, he didn't even let them know. And the reporter is saying that he's burning things. Like, who burns shit? You know what I'm saying? What kind of willy-nilly rules they got going on down there in Rosarita? You just burning stuff? Anyways, and he's got all of this Markle material, like all of the evidence, all the stockpile of all the Markle stuff that he's allegedly making money on. Okay. Now he's talking about her report card and, he liked Trevor better and all this. Meanwhile, allegedly he's never met H, but there's a video of Samantha Markle saying that they did meet. So please, you figure it out. Anyways, my point was this. He's like in that whole wackaloon interview, he's like, I just, I wanted to see my grandbabies, and I just want to move. Since I'm not going to see them, I'm moving across the globe, and I want to go somewhere else. And, I'm really upset. And, I'm just, it was so bananas, the whole thing. The reporter takes him to the airport. I mean, like, the whole thing is whack-a-loon, okay? Like, the whole thing. Meanwhile, check this out. I go to look up that article. Guess what? They have it behind the paywall. Now, the Daily Mail Plus. Now, the other thing is this. Put this into perspective, okay? So, Meghan Markle's show comes out, and everybody under the sun has made a review, magazines, everybody has talked about it. Everybody said their 2 cents. So there's nobody else left to talk about it, really. So the same reporter who did the interview with Thomas Markle Sr. Now remember, he wanted to distance himself from all this drama and everything, and that was one of the reasons why he was moving, all right? That same reporter does another article with him, and it was called, in Daily Mail, it's called Thomas Markle's Withering something about, Meghan Markle's new cooking show, his withering verdict on it or something like that. But it's behind the Daily Mail Plus paywall. The article I originally made fun of. I might re-release that video. It is that good. That's behind a paywall. So now I actually was like, you know what? Okay, what's the deal with this paywall? It's like $2 a month or something. And you got to pay for the whole year. It's like $24, I'm assuming. But here's the kicker. To cancel, all right? If you don't cancel, it goes to $9.99 a month or some nonsense. But here's the deal. To cancel, the only way to cancel that membership, according to everything I looked up, unless I'm wrong, is you have to call the Daily Mail between the hours of 9 and 6, and they're in the UK, and it's, a 035 number or whatever it is. And I'm thinking in my head, I don't got time to call people that I need to actually make appointments with and sit on hold or dick around or whatever. You think I'm going to call the UK to get this done, and then I got to rely on them making this happen? I'm like, this sounds like I'm not saying it is, but I'm just like, this just sounds like a little too bullshitty here. You know what I mean? It's that hard to cancel. You can't just, send them an email and be like, that's it, cancel my thing, and bingo, bango, wango, tango, it's done. Nope. Okay. So I'm out on that. All right, so this now, of course, other people who have subscriptions to that nonsense are going to read it and recreate their own articles. So I just wait, you know what I mean? Who cares? I don't know. I don't get the business plan, but okay. Anyways, here's the story. Thomas Markle sends heartbreaking message to Meghan over her royal title move. Okay, now, this is talking about the show and also about the fact that this bird brain now calls herself, and by the way, she does this in such an asshole way to Mindy Kalingalingaling. And by the way, poor Mindy, listen, I don't know, I'm not some champion of Mindy Kalingaling here, okay? Kalingalingalingalingaling. All right, she really seems dense as wood. I'm not joking you, no offense. But it's like, why would you have that ridiculous conversation with her right then and there, like, oh, I'm Sussex now. First of all, listen, I don't know all the ins and outs of this. I AI'd it. And I'm like, can she call herself Meghan Sussex? And according to everything that I read, unless I'm wrong, I'm not saying I'm some expert here, she can't. Normally they call themselves, that's their title that they go by, the Duchess of Sussex. All right? You can't just say your last name is Meghan Sussex. It doesn't work like that. If anything, it would be, Meghan, whatever, Windsor, whatever the hell, Mountbatten Windsor or whatever the hell, all right? Or Dumbarton or whatever the deal is. I don't know. There's so many different things. My point is this. So this guy is now upset with the fact that she's changing her name to Markle. And listen to how stupid. You thought the other article was stupid that I was talking about. Listen to how stupid this goes. But here's my point, though, folks. Okay? Pay attention to this. This guy wanted to stay away from this, allegedly, and get out of all of this nonsense with his, I just want to see my grandbabies. Okay? Meanwhile, as soon as they dangle some cash, allegedly, I'm assuming it is, okay? I'm assuming it is. And they wait till everybody else has had their 2 cents to say about it, so nobody else is left to talk about it, so you trot out the dad, okay? Now, listen to this. Thomas Markle has sent a heartbreaking message to his daughter, Meghan, after she announced she was no longer wanted to be referred to as Markle. Markle, 80, who is estranged from his daughter, spoke about the lifestyle series with Love Meghan and took a particular issue with Meghan correcting her friend Mindy Kalingaling for calling her Meghan Markle. He told the Mail, "My mum," so he calls his mum, right? Like he's British. You know what I'm saying? Like he's from UK now. He doesn't call her mom. Okay, fair enough. My mum loved Meghan very much, but she would be so disappointed to hear that Meghan no longer wants to use the name Markle. I don't know if Thomas Markle had a dad, but the reality of the situation would have been his dad's name would have been Markle, and his mom's name back in those days would have most likely assumed his dad's name. It's not his mom's name. It's his dad's name. Does any of that make any sense? And now he's his mom, by the way, is gone. Okay, she passed away when she was 91 or something. And he's like, my mom would be I love how people are like, somehow they can get into the mindset of a person who is no longer here. How the hell do you know? My mother was so proud to be a Markle. Why? So am I. So am I. Meghan never had a problem with the Markle name until she met Prince Harry. Well, let's just hypothetically say his last name was Windsor. And she decided to use that name, unless they were like, she wanted to maintain her actress moniker, okay, which a lot of people do if they're celebrity. What? Okay, until she met Prince Harry. So, okay. Fair enough. With a bitter sarcasm, he added, now listen to this shit. You want to talk about narcissism? Folks? And how all of these apples do not fall far from the tree? This whole Markle clan, I'm telling you, something is so off with these dopes. With the bitter sarcasm, he added, now I have to say I'm Meghan Sussex's dad. Why do you have to say that? And who the hell are you saying that to in the Philippines or wherever the hell he went to? Now I have to say I'm Meghan Sussex's dad. No, you don't. You don't have to mention it all. Meanwhile, the bitch ain't talked to you in 7 years, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have family members, folks. I have a family member right now that told me something that wasn't true. I haven't spoke to them in 4 years over some petty fucking stupid lie that they told me. And I was like, yeah, that's it. And these people are banging on. She hasn't talked to you nor hide nor hair in 7 years, and this is what your gripe is in life, and you're 80 and you give a shit about any of this? I mean, this is ridiculous. This man I just wanted to see my grandbabies, and meanwhile goes to go live in wherever the hell he's living, but yet, as soon as they can bring out the interviewer and the camera and the interviewer that went and lived with him for, during the holidays of all times, Markle disputed the claims in the show that she was a latchkey kid who grew up eating TV dinners. She mentioned that a few times, by the way. He told the publication, we occasionally ate TV dinners. Which family doesn't? Okay, fair enough. But I was working 2 jobs, so money was never an issue. He insisted he would personally pick up Meghan from school daily or send a car, okay, if he was busy, stating she was never a latchkey kid. Now, think about this, folks, okay? Just do the math on this, all right? Now he's working 2 jobs, okay? Like the one job wasn't enough. Don't forget, this is an Emmy award-winning lighting director. All right, let me put this into perspective. If you are in Hollywood and you're on there's 2 unions. I believe there's AFTRA. SAG is for the Screen Actors Guild, and I believe there's AFTRA, and then there's something else. And I think it was called IATSE Local 728. And that's for lighting people and all this other jazz. He was a lighting director for multiple shows, and one of those shows was Married with Children. Now, let me rewind this. Married with Children was one of the most popular shows at the time that it was out. Okay. On top of which, in those unions, okay, the way those were set up in the 80s and the 90s, those were gravy trains with biscuit wheels. Okay. Basically, I'm telling you, I know older people that were, in unions or had certain things a certain way or had government jobs or whatever their deal was. They literally are getting paid the equivalent, like dollar for dollar, what they were making at their peak. Okay. So their retirement is cush. Absolutely cush. This guy should be, and by the way, Hollywood money, in those days too, you're talking about like the 80s. You're talking about, people are playing fast and loose. This was the, everything goes better with Coca-Cola 80s. You know what I'm talking about? There was a lot of money on the table. A lot of money on the table. Everybody on those shows made dope or dough. Sorry, they were dopes making dough. Now, my point is this. And yet and meanwhile, don't forget, think of all the interviews. This guy flew to Australia because they wanted to interview him. Meanwhile, he was so sick. Oh my God, I'm having so many problems. But yet he can fly to Australia to go, talk shit for whatever. He's doing all these interviews. I'm sure he gets paid for every single one of them, allegedly. That's my opinion, okay? He got money from, the fundraiser that Lady C was kind enough to do. Meanwhile, he don't say shit about that ever. That's who he should be thanking. Please. I'm telling you, this guy's flush with cash. All right? And not only that, think about this. He's living in Mexico for 10 years. Renting, nonetheless. He's got to be stacking money. I'm telling, and don't forget, same guy hit the lottery twice and divorced. Don't forget, divorced Dorito, married once, divorced. He hasn't been married 3 times and all that shit. And got 3 alimony payments. This guy's married 1 time to Dorito and probably wasn't making much at the time or whatever the deal was. And they had their divorce and there was probably no, big settlement or big alimony or whatever. And she was gone and he was the sole provider of shiesty. So I doubt there was some, money that he had to be churning out to Dorito. Do you know what I'm saying? And even if it was, I'm sure it wasn't shit enough. This guy can send a car to go pick up his kid. You know how expensive that is? Send a car? Okay. All right, so let's get down here. According to the father, Meghan lived with him full-time from the age of 11 until university. Now, don't forget, she's talking about, and some other bullshit I read, now she's apparently in her show, she's dropping the fact that she had a job at 13 years old at a yogurt place. 13? I don't even think that's legal, okay? I think maybe if you're like 15, 14 possibly. I mean, who knows what the laws were? But you have to have like a written consent from your parents, like a work permit. It has to be signed up from your parents. It's only like a tiny ass amount of hours. And it's like, you're going to tell me that she was working at a yogurt stand at 13? 13? Have you ever seen a 13-year-old kid working at a yogurt shop in your life? Really? I mean, maybe if it was something for school and they were putting on a fundraiser and the kids were making yogurts, maybe she's referring to something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe they did something, in conjunction with a yogurt place and she was, scooping for the day or so. I don't know. But there ain't no 13-year-old working at a yogurt shop. I mean, that is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard. On top of which, her nanny job, where she's talking about the guy. Okay, yeah, let me get this straight. So she by the way, she mentions both of these people are Irish Catholic for some weird, bizarre reason. Okay, it's like a detail nobody needs to know. But then think about this. So she's nannying for them. Okay, so the Irish Catholic guy comes home, I'm assuming from a date because they needed a nanny. And then the wife is milling around in the house, probably getting, changed or whatever she's doing. And the Irish guy, the dad, now is going to go sit down and have some deep conversation. Like how involved would a grown man be with the younger babysitter slash nanny? I'm sure that story was bullshit. And it's like, you know what? I want a guy to find. Why would you be laying some heavy shit on somebody that do you really know this person like that? I want a guy to say to you what I said to my wife. And it's like, you know what? Like, what's the reality of that? How'd that conversation go as soon as she left the door? I'm assuming that the Irish Catholic wife threw the husband out of a second-story window, and he was in traction for about 6 months after allegedly dropping that story on the old Sharkily the Markley. That sounds like the biggest crock of shit. Let's get back to I just want to see my grandbabies. Now, Markle also claimed they dined out at least 3 times weekly at upscale restaurants. He revealed that Meghan's favorite restaurants were Musu and Frank in Hollywood, a legendary and very expensive restaurant, and the Hamburger Habit. Now, I don't think there was anything called the Hamburger Habit in Los Angeles in the time frame that he's talking about. There was a fancy restaurant, don't ask me how I know this shit, in like West Hollywood and a few other places in Los Angeles called Hamburger Hamlet, and I think that's what they're talking about. Like celebrities used to eat there, and it was a whole big to do. But it was called Hamburger Hamlet. Certainly wasn't called The Habit. That's a new restaurant that's been started within the last 10 years or something. Now he goes in to say Markle was particularly critical of his daughter's cooking method shown in the Netflix series. So this 80-year-old dude who's a lighting instructor, this is what he's doing in his final days, worrying about this shit. He said, who makes spaghetti that way? You always boil the water and then add the spaghetti. It's the most basic thing. Okay, that's your big critique? He describes the show as out of touch to the real world. I think you're out of touch to the real world, dude. I mean, no offense, dude. I mean, I'm certainly not standing up for Shiesty, but you're an 80-year-old grown man. This bitch hasn't talked to you in 7 years, and you're talking about how she's out of touch, and you got 1 foot in the box, and you're moving to of Thailand or wherever the hell you are, and this, you know what I'm saying? I think she's out of touch with the... I mean, think about this. This is the guy that's like, I can't see my grandbabies, and she doesn't want to talk to me and all this other shit. Meanwhile, this guy's sitting here talking shit about her. I think she's out of touch with the real world. Oh, did that just dawn on you, Dad of the Year? Since she's come on the scene, dude, she's been out of touch with the real world. And from everything that we've heard and fucking known from her in the past, she's out of touch with everything. He said, I don't think most people these days can afford to go out and spend $90 on fruit. Gee willikers. How'd you come up with that? Maybe he should start a fundraiser for those people. You know what I'm saying? I doubt he would do that. She puts edible flowers on everything. No one has edible flowers handy. How the hell do you know? What does this guy know? Markle revealed that his last meeting was over Thanksgiving dinner in 2017, shortly after Meghan's engagement to Prince Harry. She probably wanted to gloat. He added, we shared a wonderful meal and I left. I never saw Meghan or Doria again. The second series with Meghan of Love have already been filmed and will air later this year. Now, let me show you this. Now, this kind of goes back to the original article I was talking about in the Daily Mail, but not really. Meghan Markle's dad reveals why he's leaving America and sends a message to the grandkid. Meghan Markle's dad, Thomas, has made the heartbreaking confession that he's revealed his plans to leave America for good. He revealed his plans in 2025, sending a message to his grandchildren, Archibald and little Betty. Mr. Markle, who's been estranged from his daughter since 2018, said he wants to relocate from Rosarito, Mexico, to possibly Southeast Asia. Remember, he was real cagey about the whole thing, where there's kinder people. How the hell do you know? He told the Mail on Sunday, I'm getting away from the politics of the States that disappoints me at 80. It's time to go somewhere where the people are lovely and I can enjoy a quieter, friendly existence. In Southeast Asia, the medical care is good and you can live reasonably and cheaply. And the people are kind and respect older people and the food is healthy. Food's healthy anywhere. It just depends where you choose to eat, dude. I want whatever time I have to be peaceful with none of the awful drama of recent years. Okay? This is numbnuts in December. Okay? Mr. Markle, who has suffered 2 heart attacks and a stroke, living in Mexico. According to the outlet, his home was filled with several of Meghan's pictures, including her first wedding to Trevor, which he said he really liked. Meghan's father also confirmed he has yet to meet his son-in-law, Prince Harry. However, there's a video of Samantha Markle saying that they did meet, or his grandchildren. He told the outlet that he's come to accept he most likely never will, but suggested that the door remains constantly open for him. You know how bizarre that would be? And here's the other thing, too. If somebody's bullshitting you and not the most honest person in the world, and you haven't seen each other for 7 years, and you don't even know if these kids are even really their kids, or whatever the whole deal is. You know how awkward that would be seeing these people? You've never met H, allegedly, or maybe you have. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, and then they're all going to come over together and it's all just supposed to be hunky-dory. I mean, wouldn't you be like, screw it at this point. The hell with all of it. You know what I mean? Just want to enjoy my life, move on. Please, cut bait, dude. Regarding his estranged daughter, what he said is he doesn't like some of the things she's done. He will always love her. He said, I don't like some of the things my daughter has done, but I will always love her. My door is always open, and that love for her will never change. I love all my children. I just want to see my grandbaby. Speaking of King Charles and his hopes of seeing his grandchildren, Mr. Markle said, I'm a grandfather, and he is the king of England. But he, too, is a grandfather who would like to see his grandkids. I'm not running away. I'm going in search of a more positive life. Every day I see something about Meghan. This week, it has been the news about the new TV show. Okay, I wish her no ill will. My dream is to one day that I could bring the whole family together like a normal family. Looking forward, he revealed that he now wants to explore other places with his son and Meghan's half-brother, Thomas Markle Jr., who, allegedly, hasn't talked to Meghan in 15 years. According to what I've read. So what the hell is she going to, why would she reconnect with that guy either? He said, I don't know where it'll end up, but it's time to move on and find a place where I can live among kind people and enjoy the time I have left. So this isn't even as good as the Daily Mail article, but yet here he is saying that he wants to get away from all this. Yet here we are. In March, freaking 2 months later, almost to the exact, and yet here he goes, dropping an interview, because most likely they're paying this guy to trot him out and, hey, it's time to bang on about your daughter. And then check this out. This was part of an outtake of the Daily Mail interview, which is now behind a paywall. Mr. Markle was cut off by his daughter after suffering 2 heart attacks on the eve of her 2018 wedding to Prince Harry. I don't know why she dumped me, he explained, though he believes she never forgave him for missing her big day. Now, the story that he tells, okay, first of all, he's going to her wedding. This guy doesn't have a job. All right, keep that in mind. They had a car waiting for him, allegedly at the airport or his house or some bullshit, whatever it was, to take him to the airport. He had the heart attack. So the day before the wedding is this day that he decided to fly out. You didn't want to go out maybe a day early or a couple days early, get acclimated, all that bullshit. He was reading books about, London and England and all this stuff and, hot spots and all this stuff. You don't want to go out a couple days early. Just make sure you're there. Everything's, dialed in. He's leaving the day before to go to the UK, which is what? An 8-9 hour flight. Then he's got to get there, get ready, go through all the whatever the motions are and all this other bullshit. Doesn't that sound a little odd? I mean, most people that are having local weddings will have, they'll have the rehearsal dinner and all this, you know what I mean? They'll have all this other stuff. They'll do that, whatever, maybe like the weekend before the date or something like that. This guy's coming up the day before. Does that make any sense? And then here's the kicker. In the Daily article report, it says this, okay? It says he had 2 heart attacks, goes to a Mexican hospital. This is the day before he's supposed to leave. They transfer him from the Mexico hospital to a hospital in San Diego, okay? So imagine the time it takes, if you've ever seen the border crossing, traffic in or traffic out of Mexico, there's a line. And it's a wait. So he's now going to go to a hospital in San Diego, check in, tell them what's going on. Allegedly, he went into surgery to get some stents put in. Not an easy procedure, okay? Gets the stents done. And then, according to the story, allegedly, was released with enough time for the next day to get a Airbnb. And he was there so early, don't forget there's an 8-hour time difference, so early that he was able to watch their big ceremony on TV live. How? Now, if you've ever been to the hospital with anybody or a family member that's had any kind of condition, the odds of you having a heart condition, much less them doing some sort of procedure on you, and would they release him in 2 hours of the situation? No, they're usually going to keep you overnight, monitor your blood pressure, make sure everything's going right, make sure everything's taking right. You know, there's some sort of deal in your blood. They check for, I can't remember what it's called, but they check for, there's some sort of, I can't remember what it's called, but there's something in your blood that can detect if there's, abnormalities in your heart. I can't remember. It's something that has to do with heart. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Anyway, and you're going to tell me that they did 2 stents after this guy had 2 heart attacks and didn't keep him for observation for like 48 hours. Really? They let him out in time in the morning, and he got a chance to go get an Airbnb, and he's so wide awake after all this shenaniganery that he was able to watch the wedding. Folks, that is the most bullshit story. And by the way, think of how hard it is to get out of a hospital and into a hospital. Okay, just the time. Okay, for them to release you takes a good hour. Okay, this is the biggest crock of bullshit story I've ever heard in my life. And then they trot numbnuts out. I just want to see my grandbabies. They trot numbnuts out because now everybody has said something but the dad. And so now it's time to get his, and they're going to put it behind a paywall. And now that article that I read you originally is now also behind a paywall. It's strategically planned. They're doing it on purpose. And allegedly, my opinion, is Thomas Markle Sr. is getting paid, and it must be worth his while. And think about all the money that he's made off of all these interviews and all this other bullshit that he's been doing since Meghan has met H. Okay? Allegedly, he got $100,000 just for those stupid paparazzi photos in the beginning. So imagine the money that he raked. What do you think they're paying him to trot him out to Australia? It's got to be worth his while. I mean, just think about it, folks. Do the math. This guy's acting like, you know what I mean? Like I need a fundraiser. It's all bullshit, folks. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Who loves you, baby?
Who loves you, baby? You're beautiful.